Yeah, Dr. Dre is in full effect, and I gotta tell y'all a little something. Eazy-E is down with us. MC Ring, you know he's down with us. DJ Yella is down with us. Arabian Prince, you know he's down with us. Tony A the Wizard is down with us. JJ Fag is down with us. Timmy T, you know he's down with us. DJ Pooh, boy, he's down with us. Toddy B and Spade, they're down with us. My boy Ice Cube, you know he's down with us. I like to mention, so pay attention to where I'm from, Compton, but the tapes are from the Roadium. My name is Dre, listen while I play. And by the way, I'm also down with NWA. Yo, Steve at the Roadium is down with us. Slanging funky tapes, it is a must. We're number one.
Yo, welcome back to Roadium Radio episode 15. But before I announce my special guest today on our second Sunday, once again, the Roadium mixtape documentary is out. It's been out 1 month, and if you haven't gotten that, make sure you get that, okay? It's well worth your money for unlimited streaming. Once again, Roadium apparel is also free shipping until further notice. So until then, buy me out, you know what I'm saying? But let me give a special shout out to my boy Danny from 110 South. He blessed me with this sweater right here. You can find him at 110 South Streetwear. Danny, much love, much respect. Thank you for blessing me. My boy Willie G for hooking me up with this hat. Once again, my boy Willie G from San Pedro. Much love and respect to him. But without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce my next guest. If you haven't peeked him out, if you don't know anything about him, you're going to know tonight. Stay tuned, text somebody, call somebody, let them know that I'm on live with none other than Bozo. Thank you for coming, brother.
Much gusto, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, brother. Before we get started, I want to say that I peeped out a lot of your music.
Yeah.
You know, and I really, what really stood out to me was your flow. But before we get into what you're working on now and what you're working on in the future, I want to start from the very beginning and talk about Bozo. Where were you raised at, man?
I was raised in the city of Pico Rivera, but I was originally born in West LA.
West LA, so much love to Pico Rivera. Is that pretty much where you were raised?
Yeah, my whole life. Yeah, my whole life until just recently. You know, this time I paroled out of prison.
Okay. Yeah. And now what like elementary school did you go to?
I'm a lightning bolt, Valencia Elementary, off of Passings.
Okay. And junior high, was it called junior high or was it?
Nah, it was called junior high. Back then it was still called junior high. I went to Rivera Middle School. That shit's an enemy hood, so.
For real?
Yeah, it's on the other side of Washington. But it's all love though, you know. We all loved each other back then, still in junior high.
All good. What about high school?
High school, I went to El Rancho for a couple months and that was it pretty much.
That's it?
Yeah.
So you didn't finish high school?
No, not even come close, yeah.
Well, neither did I, man.
Yeah.
So don't feel so bad.
I got my GED though. I got my GED out of Paramount Adult High School. Okay. I was trying to go to the military for a minute. Right before I turned 18 years old, I was ready.
Really?
I always wanted to be a Marine. That was like my goal as a kid.
Wow. Well, I have a daughter that's in the Air Force. My son was going to go to the Air Force. He was going to work in the medical field, but instead he decided he had other plans. But I wish he would have went. So far, the Air Force has been good to my daughter. So,
yeah.
But now, in high school, you didn't play any sports at all?
Nah, I tried. I was trash as fuck. I tried football. I did the summer tryouts. I was trash as fuck. They never called me. Yeah, I wasn't no good.
What position would you have liked to have played?
Safety. I would have liked to play safety, yeah.
That's good, man. That's dope. So, growing up, well, let me ask you this. Brothers and sisters?
Well, I'm the baby in my family. I'm the only boy. I have two siblings, Amy and Carla.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that took the roles of parents after my mom passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah. So I would have thought you probably would have been the protector of the sisters.
I was young. I was always, you know what I mean, a little feisty fucker, you know, jealous, extremely jealous. When you're raised in a household full of women, you tend to get used to the nurture and the love that they give you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to share it with nobody. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So yeah.
I remember, you know, I have 4 sisters. And I remember when I first saw, now that you bring that up, one of my sisters hold hands with her boyfriend, who eventually would be her husband. But it felt weird to me because, you know, that's your sister.
Yeah, most definitely. Hell yeah.
So now, as a kid growing up, what type of music was played, like maybe what would your father play? What would your mother play?
My dad was a huge Elvis Presley fan. He even looked like him to some degree.
Really?
Yeah, heavy on that style. And then my mom, she was also huge on Elvis Presley, like the early rock, you know. But mostly it was salsa and cumbias and
Really?
rancheras, no corridos. We did rancheras in my family. So traditional Mexican music, pretty much, you know.
Really? Now, where are your parents from? Where's your father? Where's your mother from?
My dad's from Durango. My mom's from San Salvador.
Okay, Salvador. So you have Salvadorian?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let me just stop right there because I want to nail something down real quick. Due to some comments and due to some things that some people wrote me because they knew I was having you. Okay. Some people said, why are you having that Salvadorian? You know, he's not even full Mexican. Look, let me say this, okay?
Yeah.
Both my parents were from Mexico, okay? I don't ever trip on who's half, who's not, you know, who's half Guatemalan or who's whatever. I have a brother that married a black woman, and I have black nephews and nieces.
Yeah, most
bro.
definitely.
You know, I mean, am I only supposed to love the Mexican side of them?
Yeah.
You know, so what I don't understand is that why does a raza come together instead of just nitpicking on, well, you're not really Mexican, or you're not really Salvadorian. That shit doesn't matter to me, you know, and it shouldn't matter to any of us. And I just would hope that we would just kind of grow the fuck up and not criticize that. When one of us tries to climb the ladder, we know what we do. We shoot each other down.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, it's a psychological issue that's like heavy with our community and our people, like in our culture for the most part. It's, you know, it's a lot of insecurity. You know, it has to do a lot with insecurity. My mom used to refer to people with that kind of mentality that eran indias, you know. They'll be like, es indio ese hombre, you know, like more or less speaking towards the lack of his understanding and knowledge and wisdom of the world. You feel what I'm saying? Because the native Indians, all they knew was their tribes. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of tribalism mentality that we have, but I believe that it comes with a lot of insecurities, and that's what I believe is the main seed in our community that still has us killing each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even when it comes to like the gang banging and how we're still part of gangs. You know what I'm saying? And how heavy the potential for another Mexican to kill another Mexican is. You know what I mean? To this day,
Right.
It's just a lot of insecurities that we lack of understanding within ourselves. You know?
Yeah.
Like we haven't really come to grasp with our full potential and our greatness of where we stand. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like a lot of people still see themselves in our community as less than everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, there's always a chip on their shoulder. Machismo for us as male Hispanics, you know what I'm saying? Always testing each other because of the insecurities that we have. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily blame it on our upbringing. I think I blame it more. I guess I would personally blame it like on the men in our culture. Like there's a lot of, you know, the way I could best describe it is that they didn't know no better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that with evolution and with evolving as men in our communities, you know, we tend to grow more of an understanding now because we have a bigger eyesight, even through music, through education, through TV. We have a bigger understanding of what a man really has to do to raise another man. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times growing up, like I believe that the males in our family thought that they just had to teach us how to be strong. You know what I'm saying? Nothing less than just being a hardworking, back strong, prideful motherfucker. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that they didn't know no better. You know, that's probably what their dads taught them. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so forth. But I think now with our generation, it's very important to demonstrate and lead the youth also with love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With a lot of love and a lot of nurturing, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, on that same note, let me share something, and I shared it on past shows. I have family, I have nephews and nieces that are half Filipino, half Mexican, half Vietnamese, half Mexican, half white, half Mexican, half black, etc. My grandbabies are actually Italian, Irish, and Mexican. So I'm not with all that negativity that he's only half this or half that. Look, man, we've met. I support you. My doors are open. So I would never look at you like that. And I just wish that our people wouldn't look at us like that, you know.
Well, you know what? They look at us like that through the fucking screen. Because ain't nobody in public ever told me you ain't shit, you're half Salvadoran. I'll tell you that right now. So that's a huge fucking, you know, it's a huge cop out, you know what I mean? Motherfuckers are behind the keyboard, so they got something to say about everything. But in person, the motherfucker, you know, has nothing but love and respect and admiration for you. So I mean, you know, insecurities come out in the most shameful ways, you know what I mean? From a distance, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think the weakest motherfucker is somebody that disses you through a DM, you know what I'm saying?
Of course. Somebody with a fake profile.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
So, anyways, I'm glad we touched on that because I think that was important for people to know that we don't play that bullshit here.
Yeah, no doubt.
Next, you're out of high school. So, what is Bozo doing next?
Catching cases. You know, I went to prison. I got sentenced to go to prison at 17 years old. My 18th birthday, I had it in prison the first time. I got caught with a couple firearms. But at the time, like, you know, the war was big, you know what I mean? And in the city of Pico, like, we were really, you know, killing each other at the time. So, you know, I had got shot recently. I got shot at. And so forth and so forth. So I felt a need to really protect my life, and I got caught. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you grow up in the city, cops get to know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, you know, the neighbors, you know, those local cops. You know what I'm saying? When you're fucking around. So it caught up to me. I went to prison for the first time. I went to upstate, a prison called Susanville. So
around what year was this?
I want to say 98. 98, year 98, yeah. 98. So I went to prison, and I did time with Northerners and homies from Northern Cali. You know what I'm saying? That run Sureño and all that shit. So it really opened my eyes to a lot of unity and a lot of love. You know what I'm saying? Back then, the structure of the Sur was like heavy. You know what I'm saying? It was real. I want to say, I don't know, maybe, you know, it was stronger before, but I believe at that time it was in a real good place. You know what I'm saying? Okay. We took care of each other, loved each other, you know?
Okay. During your teenage years, like junior high school or maybe even elementary, did you ever like go to LP or CYA?
Oh yeah, I did all them shits. I did them all. I went through LP, Central Juvenile Hall, Sylmar. I went to Camp Scobie, Camp Miller, Camp Gonzalez. The only thing I never did was YA, but I even did placements and all that. See, because what happened was my mom died when I was a kid, so my dad kind of took it, you know, he didn't really take it so good, you know what I mean? He kind of lost himself, so he lost custody of myself in the process, you know? So I became a ward of the state, you know? So I was put up in placement homes where kids without families and parents that have caught cases go to. My sisters were too young to take custody of me, so basically I just became a child of the state, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't really have a good, I mean, I was in and out of institutions, you know, as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know how to act, you know? You could imagine you're 14 and your parents are both out of your life. Like, who the fuck's gonna tell you anything?
Right.
Especially you clicked up with the whole hood. Like, I have the same friends since elementary, you know? My homeboys, literally my whole class that I went to school with from the first grade, we're all from the same clique now, you know?
Right. You know, since you said you went to all these other camps, you know, Los Padrinos, I was in 7th grade when I went to Los Padrinos, and I wasn't there too long. But you know, the crazy thing was, I almost want to say the funny thing was, when I got there, I saw a lot of the homies that I hadn't seen in a long time. And I was like,
who's that disappeared?
Here you are, you know?
Yeah, most definitely.
But I'll tell you what really helped me change my mindset there was when they told me, you're going to go to the chapel, you have a visitor.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, because I remember my mother telling me, you know, si te vas a la cárcel, no te voy a ir a visitar. I'm not going to go visit you if you go to jail. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever, you know. I thought I was a badass. But I went and I saw her face, bro. And she had tears in her eyes. And at that moment, I knew that I could think I'm hard, but I was really hurting her.
Yeah.
You know,
I never had to face that. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
You know, I consider myself lucky that I never lived the chance to disappoint my mother, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When she passed away, I was an innocent kid. She never saw me do nothing bad. And I think that's what I lacked, was that conviction, you know, like somebody that I really, you know, loved, like, you know what I'm saying? Like madly loved was disappointed in me because, you know. You know,
there's an emptiness and losing a mother that could never, ever be replaced.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
My mom has been gone for over 10 years now. And there's still a part of me that feels empty.
No doubt. Yeah, my criminal history is a reflection of that, you know?
Yeah. So now you were in prison. How long were you in there in prison?
The first time, I think I did like a year and a half or some shit like that.
Okay.
2 years. I did 2 years, yeah.
Okay.
I was supposed to come home. I remember this clear as day. I was supposed to come home. I had 10 days to go home. And a friend of mine from Vado Norwalk, Spooky, had got jumped by the Northerners, you know? No, I'm sorry. German from Big Hazard got jumped by the Northerners. And I'm in the kitchen, chow hall. I used to work the chow hall. And Spooky from out of Norwalk, young fool my age at the time, tells me like, we gonna let that shit ride? And I'm thinking in my head, I think we gotta wait for like instructions, no, from like older people in the fucking yard to tell us what to do. And he's like, nah, fuck that. We're taking off right now. Like, there's only one Northerner working in the kitchen with us, you know? Right. And he's like, we moving on him. And he's from my area, you know, we're from Southeast. So I couldn't turn him down, you feel what I'm saying? Right. And I remember though in the back of my head thinking like, fuck, I'm going home in 10 days. He doesn't know that shit, nor does he give a fuck, you know? So he's like, let's get him. So I'm like, fuck it. Like, let's get him. And I ended up doing another fucking year. Wow. I didn't go home. Like, we fucking, you know what I mean? We chased him down the yard, trying to stab him and shit. Fuck, got caught, got shot out by the tower. And I was in the shoe. I remember I went to the hole. I got a shoe, but I'm in the hole in the back. And I swear to you, I'm there 2 weeks past my date. And my sister writes me a letter. And she's like, hey, no, I mean, I hate to bring this up, no disrespect to my baby mama, but I get a letter and my sister's like, hey, your fucking baby mama moved on. And then she tells me the name of the guy, right? And it's like one of my older homies. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, I had never, you know, I didn't, as a kid, you don't see these circumstances happening, you know what I mean? And you don't comprehend all this shit that real life is going to throw at you, you know what I'm saying? You think you're a youngster from the hood and everybody loves you and the hood is, you know, is a bond, you know what I mean? Indestructible, you know what I'm saying? And then you start to see what real life will do to you, you know what I mean? Yeah. And, you know, you learn a lot. Like, nobody told me as a kid, like, hey, man, when you go to the joint, like, you're going to fucking squat and cough for whatever officer tells you to, you know what I mean? Right. On a 3R, you might have to hoop your fucking fierro, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that if motherfuckers would have told me that when I was a kid, I would have looked at prison different. Yeah. But all I knew was American me, and all I knew was the barbecues we would throw for my homeboys every time they paroled. And the way every bitch in the hood was trying to suck their dick. You feel what I'm saying? Of course. That's all I saw was a glorification of fools coming home from prison. I remember the Polaroid pictures they used to send from the yard, all yoked up. All these motherfuckers, like, they look like gods to me. You know, as a kid, those were my superheroes. I didn't fucking read Iron Man or fucking X-Men. Like, I was looking at fucking Polaroids of my big homies, tatted up, swole, looking like Aztec gods, dog, you know? Everything creased, shoes shined, like, impeccable. Them fuckers were impeccable, you know? And, but my big homies never told me, you know what I mean? Like, yo, like, you might have to go on hunger strikes. You might not eat for a fucking month, you know what I'm saying? Like, you might have to fucking wake up 5:30 in the morning and have to bust out 113 burpees, 113 Navy SEALs, and 113 fucking squats before fucking breakfast even comes, you know? Right. But, so, you know, I think now, you know, there's a lot more of us speaking up on that shit now to the youth, you know what I'm saying? Okay. I think that there's a lot more game that's being told. I don't think my older homies even thought that far ahead, though, you know? Yeah. I thought they were teaching us. I truly believe that they thought they were teaching us the best they could, you know what I'm saying? Right. Okay. Now, in between all of this, how did music, or how did what you do now, how was that inspired as far as rapping is concerned? Was it before you went to prison, in prison, you know? It was my love for hip hop started when I was 5 years old. I fell in love with rap, like, as a kid. And share that part. Yeah, like, well, my mom was a very unique individual. Like, my mom wouldn't buy me toys, you know? My mom would buy me music, you know what I'm saying? Okay. She would never buy me a fucking G.I. Joe. To her, it was a waste of money. I don't know what her train of thought was behind that, because we never had that conversation. Obviously, I was a child. But I remember that if I went into a record store and I wanted a CD, it didn't matter if fucking Ice Cube was on fucking flipping the middle with a 9mm barrel on the cover. She would buy it for me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, I don't get her train of thought back then. Because now that I think about it, I'm like, I wouldn't buy my little boy that fucking album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But she would buy me literally any CD and any tape that I wanted, and Walkmans and headphones. I always had them. That was what I was going to ask. Was it vinyl? Was it cassette? No, it was cassette tapes. And I remember I used to be excited to go buy a single for $4. You know? Yeah. We used to go to the local fucking Music Revolution or Tower Records, and they would have the little singles in the car, and those to me were the shit. Like I remember I bought Vanilla Ice's single as soon as it dropped, Ice Ice Baby. I thought he was black as a motherfucker when I first heard him.
Right.
Yeah, so yeah, my love for music started early, man. Like 5 years old. I remember I would stay up and they used to have this TV show back in the days on regular TV. I think it was Channel 13 in LA. Now I want to say that it was called Uptown Videos or some shit like that. I don't remember the name, but I remember that I would stay up and to be honest with you, my first favorite rapper was MC Hammer, you know?
Really? Now, be honest. Did you ever try to dance like him?
I did. I didn't try. I did that shit. Like, I shot that shit. Like,
can you still dance like him?
Nah, hell no. But that Hammer Don't Hurt Him album, that was my shit. You know what I mean? Like, that was my shit. I remember my sister used to go to the concerts, the powerhouses that were having them ready, and he would be there. You know what I mean? I remember footage of him on stage with actual hammers fucking hammering on the stage, and his whole fucking entourage of like 30 motherfuckers up there dancing. And to me, that was the dopest shit ever. You know what I'm saying?
Now, have you ever met him? Hammer?
Nah, I never even seen him. And
okay,
you know how I just met that was a huge like fuck. I was like, I don't get starstruck. You know what I mean? But I met Keith Sweat and I fucking got starstruck.
Wow.
Because I remember as a kid, like all the killers in my neighborhood banged Keith Sweat.
Make it last forever.
Make it last forever. How Deep Is Your Love? Something Just Ain't Right. All that shit. They would knock that shit like.
I mean, those are like oldies to us.
Exactly, yeah. And I remember they would post up on my block in like Bugs, you know, Volkswagens back then, and the mini Nissan trucks, and fucking be knocking that shit.
Yeah, man.
Neighbors didn't call the cops back then, you know.
Last Sunday, I interviewed a guy named Big Daddy Swoles, and I hope he's watching. Much love and respect to Big Daddy Swoles. His good friend is MC Hammer.
Oh yeah.
So if he's ever in town, I'll call you.
Yeah, no doubt. Let me know.
So you could come meet him, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to catch you guys doing the same moves together. Is that cool?
Yeah, we can try.
I had to throw that out there.
We can try.
But so you loved Hammer. When did you start getting into, or should I say, when you first heard like rap, other than maybe a Hammer, Ice Ice Baby, like that's my shit. That's what I want to do. Was there anybody?
Ice Cube. America's Nightmare.
Okay.
That album fucking hit me like God.
You mean America's Most Wanted?
America's Most Wanted, my bad. America's Nightmare is a Spice One, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, America's Most Wanted. I heard it and I remember fucking it was over. I was in a gangbang.
What now when do you think you started like, okay, I'm gonna start writing lyrics?
Writing lyrics didn't come till like late because see the thing is like I was so heavy with the gangbanging, like to be honest with you, like you know, I was gangbanging was my life, dog. You know what I mean? Like I loved it. You know, to this day, like I still, you know, I'm not shooting at people, but I love my neighborhood. Like I'm very heavily involved and participate in anything my neighborhood does. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, like I didn't, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think, you know, if I talk about dark places in my life, I can't really put it on the 10 years I did in prison. I got to do it. I got to put on the 10 years I did before prison. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I was heavy on drugs. I was heavy, you know, with the robbery shit, gangbanging, shooting. You know, a lot of people died in that time. You know, I've had homeboys die in my arms. People that I really, really loved were murdered. You know what I'm saying? And in horrible ways and shit. Fools that I grew up with. So, yeah, writing music didn't come till I was in prison for the second time. I was in prison for the second time.
And what did you go to prison for the second time?
The second time, I believe it was for robberies, a string of robberies I had done. Okay. It was my first time ever being busted for violence, you know, so they gave me a 4 with 80 or some shit like that. I did 3.5 years off of that. And then, but I have a cousin. Well, I had a cousin, rest in peace, Smiley from Bug Garden Locals, Anthony. And he was like, you know, we were like brothers, you know what I'm saying? I'm on the streets. We grew up with the same people. We grew up in the same neighborhood. He got into a different gang from a different city because I wouldn't allow him to join my neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Right. I was trying to protect him or whatever the fuck I thought I was doing. But yeah, he was murdered. And he was murdered when I was in prison. I was in reception. They killed him. And I remember clear as day, man. I had a premonition that somebody was going to die that I loved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember I was asleep in my bunk. And I remember that in the dream, I was in the audience and there was a dude on stage rapping and he was saying, he was basically saying that a mother was shedding tears because her son had just got killed, you know? And I woke up and literally like the warden was calling me to the office to notify me that my cousin had got murdered. He got shot 9 times in the city of Bell Gardens. So due to you know, lack of resources in prison, you know, there was no psychologist to come see me on a fucking 3R that wanted to talk to me. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
So they sent a guy to my cell, and he knocked on my window, and he was like, "Look, I know you just suffered a huge blow. You had a tragedy happen in your life, and in normal circumstances, you know, I would have you come into the office and talk." He's all, "But I don't have the resources or the time to do it. Like, you're probably the 30th dude I got to see today, you know." But he told me, I want to give you some insight and I want to give you some advice, and hopefully you'll hear me out. And I was like, yeah, no doubt. So he gave me a notepad and he gave me a box of pencils. And he told me, since I can't talk to you, he told me I would like for you to talk to this notepad. He told me every day, take some time and write down what you're going through and how you're feeling, whether it's a good day or a bad day. You know what I mean? Use it as a diary. And then in certain amount of times, pick whether a month or 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, I want you to go back and read it. You know what I'm saying? I want you to go back and read it and see how you're growing through this process that you're going through, you know? And see that if you see yourself either gaining hope or getting more sorrow from living on, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, no doubt. So I tried doing that, and it didn't work for me. So I had to write music. I would write what I felt in music, and that worked for me a lot.
Okay.
So since then, I started writing music. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what year did you get out of that 10 years? What year? Were you released?
From doing my 10 years in prison, I got out in 2015. What are we in right now? 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got out in 2015. I originally moved out to Colorado, and then
what part of Colorado?
It was a city called Longmont. It was a city called Longmont. I was there for like 6 months.
You lived in Longmont?
Yeah, and I caught a case out there.
I know people from Longmont. Much love to Longmont.
Yeah. It's a weird little town, man. It's a strange little town, but
they call it Longtown or
some
something like
shit.
that.
I don't know, but anyways, I caught a case out there. I beat somebody up pretty bad, and they locked me back up, and then I lost my right to be out there. You know what I mean? I was with somebody in a relationship at the time out there, so that's how I ended up out there. When I got out of prison,
when you were living out there, were you recording already or no?
Nah, hell no. Well, no. Well, what happened was that I was doing a lot more time, you know. But what happened was that the laws changed, and there was an overturn in charges that I had, like so they had to reassess my time, you know. And what happened was that the laws changed, and a few cases that I had that were being held against me to do prison time were no longer punishable by time in prison. So when they took my case back to court, I ended up having done more time than I should have. You know what I mean? I was 10 years, 2 months into my sentence, and I should have been out like fucking 6 years ago. You know?
Right.
So literally, I'm on my rack. I knew the process was going on because I had spoke to my lawyer, but it was a non-appearance. I didn't have to come down or nothing. But long story short, they call me into office. And they're like, "Hey, like you're going home in 10 days," you know? And it was like, of course I was happy, but at the same time, like I wasn't mentally ready. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, I still had 6 more years to go. You know, I wasn't even fucking thinking about getting out. You know what I mean? So it was a shock.
What prison were you being released from at this time?
At this time, I was being released from Jamestown. Jamestown, I believe it was. Yeah. I had dropped points after fucking being in the cell locked down so many years. You know, my last 2 years, I did them on a lower level, like 1 and 2 yards. You know. But anyways, yeah, so they told me I was going home in 10 days, and I was just like, I didn't really know what to do, you know what I'm saying? Like mentally, I wasn't ready. I didn't have like, I had a complex of being a burden, you know what I'm saying? Like I had been down so long that I want to say kind of, I was a little ashamed of the situation I was in, you know what I'm saying? I was ashamed of being in my early 30s and not having established myself and like doing nothing but fucking prison time. And I mean, I gotta say, being locked down the way I was for so long really broke my confidence. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I wasn't the man that you see now. That wasn't me. You know what I mean? It took a little time and it took a little nourishing from my family again to make me complete again. You know what I'm saying?
Let's. I want you to hold that thought because what you just said right now was key. We should demand that you are now. wasn't the man who you were then.
Yeah.
That's what I want to talk about when we get back.
Most definitely.
Okay. So once again, we have Bozo in the building. We're going to talk about how he got his name, what he has out, what he's working, what he's going to be doing in the future. We just heard a little bit of his background. Once again, call somebody, text somebody, page somebody, let them know that Bozo's in the building. We'll be back on Roadium Radio. Once again, you can order the Roadium mixtape, DOCUMIXERY. You can order my mixtapes online, and you can get apparel, free shipping, just in time for the holidays. So once again, Tony A, Bozo, Pico Rivera, Wilmington is in the building. Stay tuned.
Check it out, right about now, Dr. Dre is on the wheels, and I'm about to cold tear shit up. Hey, yo, D, you got a level? D, hit record, man.
Get busy with Easy and Tony A on the 12 techniques. See?
Here's a little something about a nigga like me. They never should have been trying to take from me.
Yo, this is Jermaine Anthony.
You don't like Tony A or
I'm rocking shit out of the Roadium. Let's do 1, 2, 1, 2. Right about now, you ain't Dr. Dre's in the motherfucking
drop that baby.
This is John motherfucking Elkins, and you're tuned into Roadium Radio with my homeboy DJ Tony A the Wizard.
What's up? This is Esther Dazzle, Spanish Fly, Harbor Area's finest. Tune in to Tony A on Roadium Radio.
Yo, what up? This is Mellow Man Ace Padrino, and you tuned in to Roadium Radio with my man Tony A. Keep it locked.
Yo, what up? I'm out here. It's Big Daddy Swoles. I'm jamming with my man, Tony A the Wizard, out here on Roadium Radio. The podcast is off the hook. Check us out.
What up, this is DJ Trick, Spanish Fly, and you're watching Tony A on the Roadium Radio Show.
Big G, Roadium Radio, Tony A in full effect. Stay tuned, watch, listen. That's how we doing it over here.
West Coast and all hip-hop fans? This is your girl, Violet Brown, and I'm here with Tony A. the Wizard. And if you're rolling with us right now, that means that you love West Coast hip-hop. And if you want to know the real deal from the real players, the real people behind the scenes, you better pick up Tony's new film, Roadium Mixtape DOCUMIXERY. You get it by going to DOCUMIXERY.com. You better get this. And I want to do a special shout out and a rest in peace to my man Steve YANO. I'm out.
Lonzo, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You sure?
Motherfucker, I'm ready. Goddamn.
Like it ain't shit, cause I'm a player motherfucker named DJ Quick. It's a full-time jack move. Billy Joe, yo, homie, make the crack move. Freestyle, meanwhile, we keep the big champion. Sweat dripping, girl is in the middle with your cue. Walked in the house, got shot. 1, 2, 3. Motherfucker, don't down this shit. This is it, y'all. Daddy. I'm kick your ass.
Cut. We're good? Yo, once again, welcome back to Roadium Radio. Thank you for tuning in. Let me give a shout out to Ontario. I saw your message, bro. Much love, much respect to Ontario. And I want to address some of you people that have ordered shirts and hoodies. Let me say this, that they will get to you ASAP. The shop that usually sends them out, what happens is, number one, they're backed up because of the holidays. Number two, we just moved buildings. So please give us some time and we'll get your hoodies and your shirts out to you. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So I needed to address that. But once again, you can order the Roadium Mixtape DOCUMIXERY at DOCUMIXERY.com. Once again, you will not be disappointed. Without further ado, Bozo, thank you for being here with me.
No doubt. Thank you.
Let me ask you something. That doesn't sound kind of funny. I know you have Salvadoran and have Mexican. So what do you prefer, pupusas or enchiladas?
Pupusas all day.
Pupusas all day, you know. Hey, you know what? I like pupusas too, but the human kind.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, okay. Anyways, so now you're out of jail. out of prison, I should say, and you said your mentality was not all there.
Yeah.
Because you thought you were going to do more.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when did you actually start now saying, okay, I want to start recording? Was it soon after that, or was it later after that?
It was later after that. It was like a year after that.
Okay, so you say what, 2006 maybe?
No. Oh, you mean, okay, my original time from the original time I got out, it was 2004, and my homeboy Stomper, shout out my homeboy Stomper, he was already signed to High Power, Capone's label.
Okay.
You know? So when I was first originally busted, Stomper used to come, he was with me in the county jail. And you know, I used to rap in the cell, you know, being on bunks and doing my shit. So Stomper used to always tell me, like, I gotta get you in the studio when you get out, you know? So he started this music shit for us in my neighborhood, you know what I mean? And as soon as I touched down, I was out, I think, 2 days, and he was like, hey, we gotta go to the studio. So he took me to Mr. Criminal Studio. Back then it was called the Crime Lab in Fontana. Shout out Mr. Criminal too. He was the first dude to ever like really shit encourage me to really write and rap, you know, like really, you know?
Right.
So anyways, yeah, we went to the studio and recorded the first song, you know what I mean? And
around what year was this?
This is 04.
04,
like 04,
okay.
yeah, middle of 04 and shit. Because I went back to prison, I want to say 05, late of 05.
It just seemed like you just couldn't stay out of prison, huh?
Nah, I'm telling you, it was, you know, I trip on that shit, man, because I couldn't stay still, you know?
Okay.
Like, to me, there was always a robbery I didn't commit that I could have. There was always somebody I could shoot that I didn't, you know?
Right.
There was always pussy I could have fucked that I didn't fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
There was always, like, a hunger, you know what I'm saying? That a young man's hunger that fucking was relentless in me, like relentless. You know, the only ones that would pick it up was my sisters, you know?
Right.
I have a big mouth, you know what I'm saying? So when I was quiet, they knew I was plotting, you know?
Yeah.
And my sister would be like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're not comfortable? Like, what the fuck? And I'd be like, nah, I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, so I was, you know, I don't know.
You know, as a kid, I was never a thief, okay? And then whenever I did slang dope, it was small time. I was a nickel and dimer, only to buy my Jordans, my records, my mixer, my, you know, whatever. Because I knew once I got a record deal, I was going to go straight legit, you know? So I was a nickel and dimer, curb serving pretty much. But I remember I was never good at stealing, and I learned it when I was in elementary school. It was summertime. We wanted to have water balloons, but I didn't have no fucking money. So I remember going into the liquor store, and I grabbed some water balloons, and I was looking around, but I didn't realize that they had that corner mirror where they can see you. And I got some water balloons, and I stuffed them on my calzones. And when I walked outside, I don't know why I was hanging around. I was just kind of looking around, and then the owner of the liquor store comes out, and he goes like this to me, and he said, "What do you have in there?" And I just said, and I gave it back to him. So he held me, called my mom. My mom beat the shit out of me in the liquor store. And that was my last robbery. Or me trying to steal. You know, that was the last time that I've ever did that. So I was never really good at stealing. So I kind of learned my lesson, and I'm kind of glad because I got my ass whooped, because every ass whoop that I ever got, it was well deserved. So I'm not one of those kids that looks down like on my mother for beating my ass.
No, I think ass whoopings are necessity.
Yes.
Like, I think that shit, man, I you know, there's a difference between giving your child an ass whooping than to giving a fucking stranger an ass whooping on the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's two different completely fucking arguments right there. You feel what I'm saying? I think that I don't know about females. I can't really speak as far as females, but I think as far as men raising boys, you gotta whip a motherfucker's ass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have, you know, one of my older homies, man, like me and him are still close as fuck. I remember I was a kid, and I disrespected him, you know? I was 16 years old. I was high as fuck off of meth, and I thought I was the fucking man, you know what I'm saying? And I came at my older homie sideways, and I remember him telling me, like, all right, motherfucker, like, you know, you're strapped right now, but one of these days, I'm gonna catch you. You're not gonna be strapped, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And sure as fuck, man, he caught me, man. And he fucking, that fool put hands on me like I had never been. I was 16 at the time, and he was easily 27. You know what I'm saying? So a grown man, I had it coming though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was a huge eye opener for me though. You feel what I'm saying? I had to decide whether I was gonna take it in a negative way, or I was gonna take it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because ignorance will tell you like, fuck that, I'm gonna catch that old motherfucker slipping. You know what I'm saying? But love will tell you like, nah, that's my big homie. You know what I'm saying? If you fuck me up, it's for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt, no matter the bruises, no matter how much it hurt. Like, I fucked up because this fool would never do that to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I learned, and that shit taught me a lot. You know what I mean? Like it taught me a lot of respect, and it taught me a lot of understanding. You know what I'm saying? Not to be so quick and act off of impulse. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm glad that you can admit that because most people would never admit that they got their ass whooped.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
I've had a few, but you know.
So that's a good thing. So you record at the Crime Lab, if I'm correct?
Yeah,
okay.
no doubt.
What happens with that first song? Did you guys put it out just yet? Did you guys just wait on it? Did you start building on an album? What
Right away.
After
After the first song, I did it. It was from my homeboy Stomper's album. He had a group called Soul Drink. It's called The Newest and the Strongest, the name of the album. We did a neighborhood song, more or less. We're from the new side of Pico, so we call it the New Town. But after the first recording, Criminal always used to, make sure to involve me in sessions, like, hey, where's Bozo? Where's Bozo? He got my number. And he would be like, yo, like, I hear you on this track. Like, I want you on this. So I was constantly, after the first recording, I was in the studio, like, all the time. Like, I don't think a week went by that I didn't have my own sessions, Capone pretty much opened up the doors to their studios also at the same time. You know what I mean? So, and whenever Stomper had it, I would go, you know what I mean? So forth and so forth. Like, I caught a pretty quick buzz,
Okay.
After my first verse that I really dropped, like, people were really want to hear my music, and off top, like I just signed a deal with High Power,
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is like, now most people will probably never admit it, but I'm going to ask you: did you have any ghostwriters, or did you write your own?
Oh
shit?
nah, I always wrote my own shit. Can't nobody write the shit I write or how I say it,
And that's good. That's good because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're better than anybody. It just makes it that you're different from everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what I like. I like different. That's why I like Misfits music because Misfit is different, and I love his shit.
Bro. Yeah, well, it's a state of mind, I think that it's a conscious choice that you make when you start writing.
Yeah.
And I think that it's something, I think everybody has their own translation of life, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And you hear that through people's music and lyricism and how they talk and what they say and how they word shit and the stories they tell in music, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, people do ghostwrite and it works for some people, but when you're translating the pain, suffering, lifestyle of the streets, like, can't nobody emulate that shit, you know what I'm saying? You could probably emulate a party song, anybody could write you that.
Now, here's the $1 million question. Where did the name Bozo come from? Because, when we think Bozo...
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, what do we think of?
Yeah, but idiot, but jackass,
The clown, Bozo the clown, okay. So how did that name come about?
A group of kids that I grew up with, man. Like, I was always the class clown, Like, I have a fucking yearbook where on the back of it, class clown is me, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I couldn't, I was always fucking jackass,
Right.
I always like to joke around and fuck around, so... I got into my neighborhood over the summer, from going to junior high to high school, I believe. And I was gonna be called Clown originally from my hood, Payaso,
Yeah.
But it just so turned out that the name Payaso was no good in my neighborhood, Whoever had it before, like, shitted on it, you know?
Yeah.
So that wasn't even an option. But my mentality was still like, I gotta be that. That's me, you feel me?
Right.
So a group of kids, I think it was like summer school. We sat down, a girl I grew up with, Anna Robles, the homie Andy Bonilla. I want to think who else is in the fucking classes. But these are all kids. We're all kids, and we're talking about, like, because they already know I got into the hood. And back then, they were, like, super excited about it. Like, damn, this was from PN now, like, the fuck. So we were throwing around names of clowns, and Bozo, I liked it, I was like, Bozo, I like the way that shit sounds.
Fuck it.
And I was like, fuck it, that's me, you know what I mean? And I rode with it since then. I've always had it, you know what I mean? People always told me, like, you should think about changing it for rap, and I'm like, nah. Like, my name carries weight, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that shit ain't, and it's not a rap name. This is like a real motherfucker's name, I'm not gonna give that shit up,
Okay. Now, you said earlier that you signed a deal with High Power?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what year was that?
2005.
2005. Yeah. Now, when you say High Power, is it more than just Capone? Is there other people, or is it just like he's the main guy?
Well, at the time we had distribution through Universal.
Okay.
And I believe that he had a distribution deal, more or less. Like, they told him, all right, like, you bring in you bring in whatever music you can or whatever artists you can. We're gonna pay you for it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then you pay them however whatever you deem is fucking. You know. So it was a distribution deal that he had. He had started his own label, and they had allowed him to sign however he wanted. You know what I mean? So he signed me to a deal for one album. Well, it was more than that actually, but literally 4 months after I signed my deal, I caught my 10 years. I did, yeah, right after that. So I literally, the album that they put out for me was called Free Bozo, but it was just literally a bunch of music that I had around so many studios. They grabbed it and just created an album, so that I wouldn't fucking default on my contract. You know what I mean? But he cashed me out though. He paid me. He even paid me when I got out this time. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Money that I believed he owed me. He still, he didn't really give me a hard time. He gave me a check, and
Okay.
that was cool. You know what I'm
saying? So now you went in, you did your 10, and then now you're released. What year again now?
Released 2015.
2015. Did you immediately start recording?
No, I didn't, because like I said, I wasn't here. I wasn't mentally here. I wasn't ready to get out, man. Like I still had a lot of questions of myself. Self-doubt. So and then it didn't help that the woman that I was with was beating me up mentally even more. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like was trying to make me feel like I didn't know how to act, you know what I'm saying? Like on my own,
right?
My own decisions weren't normal life, you know what I mean? People make you, convince you sometimes that you're a fucking animal, dog, you know what I mean? They need to hold your hand through life, or else you're gonna fucking destroy everything, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's literally how I felt for a minute, you know what I mean? But then the world around me, as usual, embraces me, I don't really have like people that dislike me, you know what I mean? Like people meet me, I typically get along with everybody. If I don't get along with somebody, it's for a reason.
What you get.
Yeah, exactly. So, outside of that relationship, I was becoming successful, like, meeting people, making money, having a job, being successful around, you know what I'm saying? So that literally, it opened my eyes, you know what I'm saying? I remember that I met up with a pastor, I have a lot of faith, I have a lot of faith in God, I always have, even through the thug and shit, like I always, believe God walks with the gangsters, you know what I'm saying, at all times, So I spoke to a pastor, and the pastor literally told me, like, man, God didn't design you to be a doormat, like, and that shit, as simple as it is, like, it hit me, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
He's all, somebody stepping on you, like, that's not what God intended for you, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta get yourself out of that way, you know what I mean? And I did, you know what I'm saying? It kind of worked out, like, God's plan is perfect, you know what I'm saying, immaculate. So I caught a case and it brought me back home.
Okay.
Literally, sheriffs from the parole department went and picked me up. They flew my ass back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And right here, the parole determined that, they would let me out. So they released me as soon as I got here.
Okay. So around what year now can we say that Bozo starts recording music once again?
2016.
Okay, 16. Now, who was this with independently?
Shit was on my own with the homie down the street. My niece's baby's dad, primo, David Vergara, Da Vinci, and Kevin Vergara. They live down the street. The boys, man. Kev the Kev. Shout out to Kev the Kev.
Okay.
I think I was out 2 days and I hit them up and I was like, yo, like I want to spit some shit, And they were like, all right, we know who you are. They had heard my high power shit,
Okay.
So they just had a fucking M-Box and a Mac Pro and a microphone, and they were like, let's do it, like right here in the fucking laundry room. And you could tell it was in the laundry room when you hear it, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, to me, it was like, whoa, like, let's get it. And that's just where it started.
But the hunger, the desire, and the want to was there.
Well, I felt like I had unfinished business,
Yeah.
And I seen the state of Chicano rap, like where it was at, or not even Chicano rap, to
just rap in general.
Just rap in general, as far as our culture, Like, I just feel like a lot of potential got slept on, and a lot of talent got slept on due to a lot of fucking non-talent that was like flooding the streets, you know what I'm saying, at a time. Like, it's almost like it was like fucking like a bad batch of dope,
Right.
Like it hit the streets, and after that nobody wanted to fucking touch that dope no more, you know what I mean?
I had heard somewhere, I don't know how true this is, that there was bad blood between you and Capone at one point.
Yeah, well, it was him, being, I guess, to me, this is the only way I can, like put in perspective. Like, I think that he's been in the music business so long, you know what I'm saying, that he's developed, bad habits of how he approaches people, you know what I'm saying? And first and foremost, you got to respect me as a man, you know what I'm saying? And he just did some funny shit that I didn't agree with, you know what I'm saying? And I took it there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I took it there. Like, I just, I went on a little fucking campaign of just dissing him and dissing everything that he stood for, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But that's over with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if we see each other, I would like to catch a fade, I want that head up, but it's not going to happen, and I'm cool with it. Fuck it,
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
When's the last time you actually seen him or talked to him?
Fuck, I haven't seen him in years, man. Like, it's been like 2 years, yeah.
I invited him to the show, I think a couple of shows back. I invited him to come, and I would like to interview him. I believe he has an interesting story on how he started.
Yeah,
his,
most definitely.
You know.
Capone did a lot of shit, man. That a lot of motherfuckers don't. I remember doing shows, like not these shows that I'm doing now with like 100 people, 150. Like I remember doing shows with that fool where there was thousands of people out there. You feel what I'm saying? And him being like one of the mainliners, you know what I'm saying? And him working with like Twister back in the day and Snoop back, you know, even Game, and a lot of motherfuckers really weren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he was doing this shit. You know what I mean? My beef with him isn't over, you know, like anything that other people, you know what I mean, have held against him. You know, a lot of people hold against him. They don't believe he's, you know, like we said earlier, raza, or he represents our culture right. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit. My beef with him is just he tried to play me for a sucker. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just that. You know, simple as that. You know.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. When it comes to Chicano rap, just rap, Chicano rap, not including black artists, but just Chicano rappers. Is there anybody that you listen to or that you like maybe in the past, you like now? You know. Give me a couple of names
that I actually listened to, put my ear to. Misfit. I always thought Cujo was stupid talented, you know. I think it's a shame he doesn't drop more music, you know. Who else is out there, man? I genuinely liked the way Sad Boy did his shit, you know.
Okay.
When he signed to the 400 label, I like the way he did his shit. Let me see who else, man. There's like new artists that I listen to that I think are dope. They're on the come up. They're not really like too known, but like the homie OJ the Great, I believe in his talent a lot. There's other homies like, for instance, let me see, who else am I listening to, man? That I really put my ear to. Cause I'm guilty of being into that gangster shit. You know, I like that street shit.
What about the Frank Breed Proper Dose thing?
Oh shit! Well, when I was growing up, I was. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't heavy on Chicano rap growing up. The only artist that I listened to was Proper Dose, because they were actually on the radio and they were doing, you know, they were making fuck good music. Lighter Shade of Brown, you know what I'm saying, which was dope as fuck. Psycho Realm, you know what I mean? And that's about it. You know what I mean? That's about my... Now, Mellow Man Ace. I love Mellow Man Ace.
Much love, Mellow Man Ace. He was here on Wednesdays. Okay. Now, as far as black rappers today, who are you bumping today?
Who am I bumping regularly is RJ. I listen to a lot of RJ, G Perico. Let me see, who else am I listening to? Well, fuck, all the West Coast artists, man. Savvy Third, Joe Moses, OT Genesis. I fuck with OT a lot, that's the boy. AD, who else? Rucci, somewhat. Shoreline Mafia. You know, I like their shit, what they do, their sound. You know what I mean? To me, they're dope as fuck. And that's probably Drummer Boy. That's another Chicano rap artist that to me, he's dope, man. He has his own sound. Fuck, kids fly as fuck. You know
you know, a couple of people have requested him on this show. I just don't know how to get a hold of him.
I get a hold of him for you.
Okay.
That's the boy, man.
You're more than welcome to come, Drummer Boy. I want to interview you and just make it happen.
Yeah, Drummer Boy's doing the shit. King Lil G's dope, you know.
Okay.
I put my ear to them. Devour's dope, you know. There's a lot of artists out here, man, that like really have a lot of potential. You feel what I'm saying? That Girls Know the Product.
Okay.
GT Guards out of Houston. They're all Hispanic and they represent it well, you know.
Dope. Is there any old school artist that if you had a chance to be on a track with,
anybody?
Anybody, just anybody.
Anybody?
Any old school artist. Obviously they're still alive.
LL Cool J.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, why LL? That's interesting to me. Why LL?
Fuck, come on, man. Why? He was the fucking dopest motherfucker when he was like, Mama Sinakiata album, Walking with a Panther, like, that to me.
Remember that one, Big Bud?
I'm that type of guy. That shit was...
that shit, bro.
That shit was fucking...
going back to Cali?
Yeah. I used to like that one he had on the Mama Sinakiata album, that Cross Ride By with the boom and system. That he took that beat from En Vogue and fucked it up.
Yeah. That's dope, man. I'm glad you said that because LL, I bump LL when I work out.
Yeah.
You know, I love LL. Anybody else you want to throw out there? That
anybody else around that?
What about like a Snoop, Game?
Well, to me, like they're dope. Don't get me wrong, like they're legendary and shit. But you know, I mean, I guess I think back to when I was a kid, you know, and I like really looked at fools like they were like, you know,
of course,
like they were fucking gods. You know what I'm saying? So back in that era, I would have to say Ice-T.
Okay.
Original Gangsta. That was my album, man. Original Gangsta. Yeah.
Dope. Okay, so like, what can we expect from Bozo now? Are you working on anything? Do you have a project you're working on?
Yeah, I constantly drop music, man. I just did my own campaign called the Hunger Games, where I was dropping a song and a video like every week. So I did that. Right now, currently, like I stay working on music, man. I'm still rocking with the homie from Fam First. Shout out Steve. I still fuck with Peep CNT. That's my management, you know. I still fuck with this fool. Like Misfit calls me randomly, hey, get in here. I'm in there. AI. Shit. I'm still working. I'm you know, this last Spotify numbers that came out really like motivated me, you know?
Yeah.
I was able to look back at my numbers a year ago, and I was able to look at it now, and like I fucking shot through the roof, you know? I hit over 500,000. And I was telling Misfit, like I made money, you know, this year, you know, independently on my own, you know? God was good to me this year as far as my grind, you feel me?
Yeah.
So you know, I'm really motivated by that shit, and I'm gonna drop more content than I have before, like coming up, you know, like I'm gonna drop an album in the next hopefully 60 days, you know what I'm saying? Then I'll still keep dropping. Within that time, I'll still drop like, I'm sure, a video and a single every month, you know?
Okay. What producers are you working with, or are you producing your own stuff?
No, I don't produce at all, man. I believe in letting, you know, dudes do what they do, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that everybody has their craft, man, and like, you know, one thing, there's nothing that an engineer or producer can tell me about writing music, you know? So therefore, there's nothing that I'm gonna tell a producer and engineer about making a beat or how they mix master my shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I trust, if I'm in the studio with somebody, a producer, it's off top because I already know they're dope.
Right.
I don't just walk into a stranger's room and be like, hey, what you got? Let me hear your, you know?
Right.
Nah, it's like I seek fools out, you know? With Misfit, I already know guaranteed I'm gonna get what I want. With AI, the same shit. Producers that I work with, like Audio, Ace Beats, those fools are just, right now I started working with Sunny Slick. Shout out to the homie that reached out to me. And yeah, so, you know, I trust the people that I work with and I let them do their shit, you know?
Okay. You know, the reason I'm glad you brought that up, that I let producers produce, you know, and nobody could tell me about rap or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why, because there's very few people like Misfit that can write and that can produce, that can direct, film, edit, whatever. There's very few people like a DJ Quick. There's very few people like a Dr. Dre that can
They're
do
rarely,
it.
yeah, they're rare, yeah,
You
no
know,
doubt.
of course, you got guys that learn the equipment, but they might not be good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then there's guys that are good. Those are the guys that I just let them do their thing. Like me, I know how to produce, okay? But when I listen to Misfit stuff, I wouldn't go in there and try to redo his sound. He's good for himself.
Yeah.
I can maybe just kick in a little idea and say, right here, it might need a little that type of shit. But that's pretty much
Well,
it.
we're learning together, you know, like me. Well, I started a little bit before him, you know, on this, I like to say this era of my music, you know, because it started since I came out of prison, but we've come a long way. You feel what I'm saying? Like we've really made some noise. You feel what I mean? Like you know, our name is like, it's, you know, people know who the fuck we are, and that was like, I think I can't speak for him, but to me at the beginning, that to me almost seemed impossible. You feel what I'm saying? Like there was so many people out here, so much talent, that to me I was like, fuck, like I'm really gonna have to will myself to a point where I can make money off of that shit. And honestly, I'm very lucky. Like off top, I started making money off of my music, but it's our sound that separates us, you know. For him, like, you know, this fool has a very soulful, you know, classical sound, you know what I'm saying? Like this fool's music's timeless, you know. I believe you could listen to his album now and 10 years from now, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You were sharing with me before the show, actually, that when you were in prison, you were listening to different types of music.
Yeah, I always have. Yeah, most
what
definitely.
types of different music? Because I like people to get to know you, not necessarily just for rap, you know what I'm saying? But what type of music did you listen to?
Shit. I like, you know, people ask me what kind of oldies do I listen to. I really don't listen to the typical type of oldies. Like, I mean, of course, I'm, you know, Brent Wood, Marvin Gaye, and Al Green, all them fools, other shit. But, like, you know, I like to listen to a lot of soulful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, who am I listening to right now? Billy, shit, let me tell you right now, as a matter of fact. I'll go through it on my phone.
I know you mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny Cash?
Yeah, Johnny Cash, most definitely. Any fucking convict. Man, I would think that's the soundtrack to any convict, you know. But I listen to, well, obviously Rick James a lot, James Brown, the Funky People, Lynn Collins. I listen to Lynn Collins a lot. I listen to, let me see, who else? Bobby Bland and the Dreamers.
Okay.
Shit. Who else do I listen to? Cameo. I've always been on my Cameo shit. Lionel Richie. You know what I'm saying? I like some of Lionel Richie's older shit. And I'm really heavy like on the white boys, man. I think the white boys.
Give us some white boys.
Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Oh yeah.
Who else did I listen to?
There's a lot of hip hop heads that sample them, bro.
Man, them fools. I think the white boys have a different sound. Like even this kid Mac Miller that just passed away. You know, their vocals are just different. You know, and I think that you know, they might not be as loud and as I guess flamboyant as a lot of, you know, other artists are, but they don't really need to, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just cool as they are, you know what I mean? So so I listen to a lot of different shit. Nirvana, of course, you know. Okay. Guns N' Roses and shit.
You know, you probably just tripped out a lot of people by giving them your playlist, you know, because some people just think that we possibly just live by swap meet music alone, that we just buy oldies and, you know, drink micheladas on the weekends and that's it. You know,
I mean, when you love music, you generally love every part, all kinds of music. You know
all kinds of music. It's very, very important. Like, I was talking to Alonzo from the World Class Wrecking Crew, and I had mentioned that I don't really bump hip hop in my car. But when I want to get away with it, get away from music, I listen to classical music. I love listening to different types of instruments because I get ideas. You get so many different ideas. You can hear a timpani and you can hear a violin, and then you can start putting a dope, rugged break beat under it. Then you start placing it in your head what you want to hear. You come home, then you start playing it on your keyboard.
Yeah, you fuck with it. Well, you know, it sparks a match in your brain, man. Like, you know, creativity's a motherfucker, man. Like, you could find a creative spark from some random ass shit that you wouldn't even think about. You know, the other day I was watching an old interview of Mike Tyson, you know? Yeah. And I know it's kind of crazy, but you know, he was reflecting on his past, and they showed footage of him fucking talking shit to some white reporter in the audience, you know? He's telling you, white fucking pussy, I'll fucking rape you, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to fuck with me, you know? But literally, like, what he said after reflecting on that, he was like, he was saying that basically Billy Otto, I believe, was his trainer.
God, what's his name? And I know his trainer's name.
Customato used to fucking hypnotize him. You know, they used to put him through hypnosis, and fucking during his hypnosis, they would tell him like he was invincible, that he was gonna be the greatest heavyweight champion that ever fucking existed. That couldn't nobody fuck with him. But he said that they never turned it off. You know, like, you know, in hypnosis, they usually hypnotize you and they, you know, act like a chicken, but they turn it off. He's like, they never fucking turned it off, you know? Wow. And a lot of times, I feel that way. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. I feel like the hood fucking, whether it was my homegirls, whether it was my family at home, whether it was my homeboys, like, they told me, like, you're the baddest motherfucker out here, you know? Yeah. And you're going to continue to be the baddest. And nobody ever told me otherwise. They never turned it off. Right. That's why even now, like, I consider myself the baddest motherfucker in any fucking room I'm in, you know what I mean? Right. Of course, I have mutual respect for people, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I mean, nobody ever turned it off, you know, the confidence, you know? Since a little kid, I remember my Nina telling me I was a king, you know? Yeah. She never called me by my name, you know what I'm saying? So that's always... You know, when people don't turn it off, you got nothing but potential. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
That's dope, man. So now, since we're on the subject of boxing, we just had a boxing match yesterday. And I want to talk about it in closing. Then we'll give our shout outs. Okay. Okay. Here's what I heard, and then I'll open it up to you. Okay. On Friday, Andy Ruiz was a hero to us Mexican people. Okay. Ruiz, the Mexican champion. Viva la raza. Viva Mexico. Definitely. Everything, that's what everybody was saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
He loses on Saturday night. Guess what? Those very same people, fuck that fat motherfucker. You know, fucking burrito con piernas, you know. We can't just switch like that.
No, you can't.
Bro.
No, you can't. You can't.
You know, I've been talking to somebody, and I won't name him, I'm trying to get Andy Ruiz here. And he's heard of the show, and he's interested, okay? Whether he wins or whether he lost or not, it doesn't matter to me. He accomplished something
what he did,
that most of us will never be able to. And right away we want to shit on him.
Well, that's the thing that people don't see. People don't see it from that perspective, you know? You gotta always, whether you like a person or not, you know what I mean? You could be looking across the room at your worst fucking enemy. For instance, my worst enemies, you know what I'm saying? Like, now that I'm more mature and I have a lot more understanding, like, I remember when I was a kid, I would always be like, man, that fool's a bitch just based on where he was from.
Right.
Or based on their history, their neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Now, when I see my enemies, I think like that fool's a killer. Like he's a gangster. He's from where he's from for a reason, you know?
Right.
You can't take nothing away from Andy Ruiz. Like we all lose, we all win.
Yes.
It's a process, you feel what I'm saying? But just the fact that he's in the position to be going through that process speaks to his potential and his greatness. You feel what I'm saying? And it's not because fucking he's Mexican or he's waving the Mexican flag. It's because of the way his family brought him up and the integrity they put in his heart and the way they trained him and what they programmed him to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he trains around where I live at, you know? And shit, that boy came from nothing, man. He did something amazing. Like, what the fuck? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Let's continue to support and show him love because let me tell you something. His race is not over.
Yeah.
It's not over.
He's only starting. His only, I would say mistake was, I don't know, maybe being too happy. You know what I mean? Being too happy. Yeah.
Probably, but you know
what?
what? That a lot of times that comes when
It's a learning process, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
we get so much too soon.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to contain because everybody loves you.
You see fools with 10,000 followers think they're the shit. They ain't accomplished a motherfucking thing.
Say that again,
You know what I'm
please.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers think they have the right to opinion. Motherfuckers think they have the right to tell me that I'm trash. And it's like, bro, I'm a million fucking views on this motherfucker. Like, I got millions of views. Like, I got millions of streams. Like, how the fuck you gonna tell me something that you don't even attempt to accomplish? You feel what I'm saying? Like, don't speak. Don't be that guy, man. You know what I mean? Like, don't be that guy.
I found out that the people that actually hate on people that are trying to make it are people that never get any shine, people that don't hustle, people that might be feeling sorry for themselves. Nobody ever wants to talk to me. Nobody ever wants to, you know what, man? I encourage everybody to hustle.
Yeah.
Get your grind on.
Most
You know
definitely.
what I'm saying? Don't wait for somebody to support you to come around and pick you up or whatever.
Nah, I know they
Do
give you
it
shit,
yourself.
homeboy. That's not gonna happen.
You
Even
know-
on the tier, motherfucker ain't gonna offer you a soup. You know.
You
gotta
know,
earn
you know
that
how
motherfucker.
many times, how many days, and how many hours I spent just on the turntables, bro, as a teenager, just fucking it up. Well, all my friends went out, and you know what I said? What I would say to myself: one day it'll be my turn.
Yeah.
That's all I would say. One day, I was 17, 16 years old, cutting it up in my room Friday night.
Yeah.
I would listen to Uncle Jam's Army on the radio,
Yeah,
the
no
Canadian
doubt.
Mix Masters, and I would just be cutting it up and would say to myself, one day it would be my turn. And I'm gonna tell you something. I was 21 years old, and we were at a stadium in Texas, and we were opening up for EPMD. You know, guys that I grew up listening to. You know, and I saw 14,000 people. And I didn't get nervous not one time. Because You know what I said? Now it's my time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
Now it's my time.
You got to rise to the occasion.
Yes. So, once again, I encourage everyone to start up their own podcast because I believe this is the wave of the future. I believe radio will be extinct in about 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. You have your own voice created. Don't hate on anybody.
Yeah.
Don't hate on anybody because you see somebody trying to make it. That's why we don't have a voice because we're too busy shooting each other down.
So, well, you got, hate's it's a big word, man. You got to really make somebody earn that motherfucking title. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, Bozo, let me tell you something, man. Before we say our goodbyes, go ahead and give our shout outs or where people can reach you.
Yeah.
Where people can hear your music, etc.
Okay. Social media. I mean, on IG, I'm heavy on IG. That's really what I work most. This is the most fucking convenient thing for me. It's Bozo_B.A.M. I'm on every streaming platform you could possibly think of under Bozo also. Just follow me, man. And I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. Same shit, Bozo. So just follow my shit. I got my own YouTube channel now on YouTube, obviously, titled Bozo, that I'm pushing heavy. You know what I mean? I'm going to start uploading a lot of content.
Good.
More personal type shit, you know what I mean? Everyday life type shit. How I react to events that, are constantly happening and shit, you know what I mean?
Dope. So when you drop your album, we'll welcome you back to
no
where
doubt.
you can promote
For
it
sure.
and announce it. Because my thing is helping and pushing Raza to have a voice.
Yeah.
We need a voice. And the only way we can ever go forward and upward is us coming together.
Yeah, for sure.
Supporting each other.
Yeah, there's power, there's strength in unity, you know what I mean? And I appreciate what you're doing. Stay at it likewise, you know what I'm saying? Like, make us, the goofy shit is going to play itself out, you know what I mean? Your platform has to have integrity and some kind of fucking depth to it, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what it definitely has. So keep doing your shit, man.
Thank you, brother, for
Appreciate
coming.
it.
You greatly
No doubt.
appreciate it here. You got my support. Once again, welcome everybody to Roadium Radio, episode 15. Wednesday, we'll be back on the air with Arabian Prince, the former member of NWA. We're going to be talking about hip hop, electro funk, his background with Bobby Jimmy the Critters, his background with NWA. You ain't going to want to miss that one, okay? Once again, you can order the DOCUMIXERY at DOCUMIXERY.com. Free shipping as of right now on all apparel. My mixtapes are up. 2020, I'll have more mixtapes remastered. They'll be up for sale. What was I going to mention? Oh, yeah. Well, let me give a shout out once again to the man that makes all this happen, John motherfucking Elkins. Whenever you see him on the streets, that's what you call him, John motherfucking Elkins, okay? And much love and respect to him, JE Visuals, for filming this documentary while I directed it. DG Daniel Jones, DG Media Clips, much love and respect to him. Boomer did it from the Remedy Yard. Wiz1, Roger Mera, also known as Roger Lyve. Also give a shout out to Alex Cervantes, which I like to call Cervantes Enterprise. And Misfit Soto just dropped a new album that you guys can cop that. Let's support each other. Johnny Boy, really quick, am I missing anything?
Your new Instagram.
Oh yes, my new Instagram, because honestly, man, I must got some sorry ass hater out there, because this is actually my third Instagram that has been deleted. I just got a backup page up right now. As soon as I started climbing the followers, somebody either reports my page, or I don't know what it is, actually. I don't know anyone that's had this much problems with their Instagram. It's continuous get deleted. I don't unfollow anyone. I don't block anyone. So if anybody thinks that I unfollow them or I block them, you can find me on Tony the Wizard, as you see it right there on the screen. If you want to request anybody on the show, go to rodiumradio@gmail.com. If you want to send me your music so that I can listen to it, rodiumradio@gmail.com. Please do not DM me music. Do not DM me or text me who you want to see in the show. I will not read them. I have one location for you guys to send all that to. We will get to it in a timely manner. Give us time, because we have actually a couple of hundred we have to listen to. There's people that say, you're my homie, you should interview me. I get it, I understand, but I'm already booked up till March. Okay, so give me some time. So once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Arabian Prince on Wednesday, and next Sunday I have a surprise. I'll announce that Thursday. All right, everybody, God bless. Talk to you guys soon. See you Wednesday.